In today's Leeds news, Joseph exit latest, tight group in the dressing room, Gelhardt Hull City link, and today's rumour mill topics on Bilal El Khannouss, Delaney Bakwa and Nikola Krstovic. Morning folks, welcome back to The View. Tuesday morning, the 5th of August with your Leeds United news, and it's all very quiet around the place right now, to the point where Leeds themselves have acknowledged the silence through a small bit of information given out to Leeds Live today, where they've said fans don't like this but they're working away on some stuff. So again, I always say when Leeds are quiet, they're usually very busy, and I'm okay with that. No news yesterday. It was a bank holiday here. I did plan to do stuff, but there was literally crickets yesterday, so there was no point in just coming on and filling airspace. So I thought we'd take a break for the day and see how we got on today. And there's a bit more stuff floating around today. When we get to the rumour mill stuff, there is a case of removing some claims that have been floating around that aren't correct right now, but I'll give you all the detail and you can make up your own mind on where you sit on those links. But we will start today on the Matteo Joseph situation. And Leeds' final pre-season game of this summer will take place in Dublin this weekend against AC Milan. But want-away striker Matteo Joseph will have no part to play in that game as things stand right now. Joseph was seen around the tunnel at Elland Road after Leeds United's 1-1 draw with Villarreal at the weekend, but Daniel Farke has doubled down on his stance around the player who refused to travel to Germany for pre-season camp in an attempt to force an exit away from the club, a move that he may have gotten anyway had he just simply asked for it and turned up training. According to Spanish outlet Diario de Sevilla, they claim that Matteo Joseph may have already agreed personal terms with Real Betis, despite Leeds United insisting that the striker is not for sale and having 3 years left on his current contract, and Leeds being adamant he's not for sale. This could actually fall into tapping up territory, as Leeds are not agreeing to sell the player at this point. Leeds insist though that Joseph is free to leave this summer on a straight up pure clean loan. No option, no obligation, but that's not what the Spanish sides are looking for right now. The Spanish outlet claimed that Leeds should agree to the sale of Joseph, and they say Leeds should try and cash in on this striker that they paid £1.5 million for. Leeds believe that a good season on loan for Joseph would see his market value increase significantly, and Leeds are not putting themselves in a position where they would miss out on that potential revenue further down the line. Daniel Farke's comments after the Villarreal game leave Matteo Joseph in a very difficult position. Farke says that Joseph currently is not part of his season plans, and as a result of his actions, Leeds cannot have a distracted player in the current group. So Joseph continues to train alone with no match practice, no match sharpness, not with 221s and not with the first time at an important part of the season where he would want to be getting match practice. On the Joseph situation, Daniel Farke had the following to say. We spoke about the situation before during the training camp and how much we value him and about his decision. He has made his decision anyhow that he didn't feel ready to train with us and to travel to the training games and also play in those games. And then, of course, we can't afford then in this group, a group that is excited and focused and concentrating on preparing and stepping up for the league level right now, we can't then afford to have a member in the group who is perhaps distracted or not really fully committed. And for that, at the moment, he's definitely not part of the plans. Leeds and Daniel Farke are said to be willing to step back on this decision, welcome him back into the group for next season should he decide to roll back on his situation, something Leeds did very well with Willie Gnonto, who then went on to sign a new contract at the club and is having a very strong pre-season right now. So we'll see where it goes. I keep saying it, badly advised, bad decisions. Could have gotten all of this by doing things the right way. We've seen that with Isaac Schmidt, who played the weekend. He's getting his move away, but he's still part of the group and he's still playing football. So yeah, bad decision. We'll see where this one goes. And again, everyone is saying this is likely to rumble on till very close to the end of the window. So 3.5 weeks before that one's closed off, maybe a bit more. Let's move on and talk about the players that have come into Leeds and how they're getting on settling in. And less than 2 weeks now until the Premier League kicks off, and although it's quiet around the transfer front, the current Leeds United squad are settling into their surroundings and all getting to know each other a little bit better. Leeds United goalkeeper Alex Cairns said he has been impressed with how quickly the new recruits have settled in to life around Thorpe Arch. Cairns feels that the recruitment team this season have done a very good job in bringing the right characters in to give Leeds United the best chance of competing in the Premier League next season. And on the topic, Cairns said the following. You've always got a core group of players that pass the baton a little bit to the new ones, Not necessarily the leaders, but the ones that are a little bit more vocal around how things work around the football club because, as I say, it's especially difficult for foreign players coming in. They need to buy into the culture, which I can honestly say every single one of them has. We've had lots of conversations at the dinner table and even on the bus. Everyone is speaking. There are no cliques in this group and everyone gets on. I knew that last year when I came in. I already know that that's what this group was like. Credit to the club for bringing these type of players in because they're not just bringing in top quality players, they're bringing in great personalities as well, and that helps so much when you're trying to build something. We've talked consistently about having the right characters in the dressing room, and something we've seen over the last 2.5 years on the 49ers is that the characteristics and the character of the players they want to bring in is very important and central to their transfer policy. We'll see if they can get any more decent characters in the next couple of weeks. I'm laughing because it's so quiet. I still believe we will. I'm still confident we'll get the right people in. But it is very quiet right now, and you'd like them to speed that up a little bit. But after what I saw at the weekend, it's a very solid looking side. I don't think we'll concede an awful lot of goals right now. You want that flair and that attacking talent to come in now and hopefully again get the right characters that can mesh in with the current squad, because I was very impressed with what I saw at the weekend in parts. Let's move on. Let's talk about a potential exit from the club, and it's Joe Gelhardt, and he is one of a few players who have been told that they can find themselves a new club for next season. Gelhardt currently training with the under-21s and playing their pre-season campaign with the under-21s, along with Sam Greenwood and Patrick Bamford, who find themselves in a very similar position to Joe Gelhardt. There has been an update on his current situation today, with a possible return to Hull City being commented on, where he enjoyed a very strong loan campaign last season. According to Hull Live, they claim that Leeds United and Hull City are both in talks about a potential season-long loan move. Joffe himself is said to be very keen on a return to Hull. He's commented on it and has expressed his determination to try and seal a return for a second spell. Gelhardt, however, got a wage boost when Leeds got promoted, as did the entire squad. Leeds players were on what was rumoured to be a 60% wage cut when they got relegated. That would go back in. So Joe Gelhardt's current Premier League level wages might be a bit of an issue. Leeds ideally wanted a sale for PSR purposes, and Birmingham City along with Wrexham have also been credited with some level of interest in Gelhardt this summer. If Leeds can sort out the wages situation, get that covered in full, it could work out for everybody. But at this point, it hasn't been decided right now. There's ongoing talks, and we'll see where this situation goes over the next couple of days. Let's move into the rumour mill territory, and as I say, with this, we're kind of clear the deck of a couple of exaggerated rumours, I suppose, and give you some information. But all of these are very much pinch of salt, very much rumours at this point, so take them as that. Let's start off with the first one. That's Bilal El Khannouss. The YP and other publications said a couple of weeks ago that Leeds had inquired about Bilal El Khannouss a few weeks back, and as we know, he has a £25 million release clause in his contract. However, contrary to online speculation, there are no reports from anyone right now to say that Leeds United have triggered El Khannouss's release clause, or that Leeds even plan to trigger that release clause. And at this moment in time, those reports fall very much into clickbait territory. Leeds are still said to have some level of interest in El Khannouss, but at this point, it doesn't appear to have gone any further than the initial inquiries that were made a couple of weeks back. Leeds United are said to have interest in El Khannouss, as well as other players in those attacking left-hand side positions and number 10 roles. So as of right now, Leeds haven't publicly moved forward with their inquiries on El Khannouss. There's no reports on that, and as of the time of recording this, that hasn't changed. It might do over the next coming days or even hours, but as of right now, anywhere that's claiming that Leeds United are going to trigger a clause or have triggered a clause are incorrect at this moment in time. Let's move on and talk about another link, and that's Delane Bakwa, and a very exciting link with Leeds United a couple of weeks back, actually back at the start of June, from The Athletic. But again, those reports haven't been clarified as being new from anybody else. He would cost Leeds United anywhere in the region of 15 to 20 million pounds, but is primarily a right-sided winger. Leeds are looking for a left winger who can come in onto their right foot, and Bakwa doesn't exactly tick all the boxes they're looking for, although he isn't a very, very good winger. Bakwa, at the age of 22, has had a very strong season at Strasbourg, where he scored 6 goals and added 8 assists. He would, as I say, garner a pretty decent fee for a 22-year-old, but currently, as I say, this hasn't gone beyond speculation at this point. So again, any reports on that, take with a pinch of salt until you see those reports come from somebody a little bit more credible. Let's move on to the final one of today, and there's a bit more news on this one. And it's Nikola Krstovic, a returning name from earlier in this summer's transfer window. And Krstovic was said to be heading towards AS Roma when all the noise around Leeds started to quieten down. Roma, however, went off and signed Evan Ferguson, who would share similar traits with Nikola Krstovic, and they appear to have maybe moved on from the Lecce striker completely at this point. Leeds are rumoured to have approached Lecce for the striker a couple of months back, but that claim was shot down by local journalists who said that Krstovic wasn't on Leeds' radar at that point. This could all very much be, at this point in the transfer window, agent talk in an attempt to increase the noise around the Lecce striker after it had gone very quiet around his next move, and a link to Leeds seems to have kicked off the speculation yet again. According to Tutto Mercato Web, so take this with a very hefty chunk of salt on this one, they claim that Lecce president Saverio Stici Damiano has admitted that the club won't be able to stand in Krstovic's way should he decide to move on this summer. A fee of between 26 to 30 million pounds is Lecce's ideal price bracket, and they would like to keep the striker for at least one more season at the club. If Leeds United miss out on their move for Rodrigo Muniz, maybe Krstovic becomes an option then at that point. But right now, it is just increasing noise around the player. There is very little credible on this right now, and there's nothing more than say that Leeds are still interested in the player, and that interest has been going on for nearly 3 months of a player they could go and get right now if they wanted to, so you can read into that all that you want. On the Rodrigo Muniz situation, currently the reports coming out of Di Marzio in Italy claim that Atalanta in Serie A are very much in talks with Fulham around the move for him. But Di Marzio does also say that there is heavy UK-based interest in the striker as well, and UK clubs continue to push to get a deal done for the Brazilian. Leeds United would obviously fall into that bracket. But as we say, it is very, very quiet around the place right now. There's not a whole lot of any credible news of incomings or exits outside of Joe Gelhardt right now. So we'll have to see where that goes over the next coming days and weeks. You would hope and expect that this would pick up in the next coming weeks, and we'll see where we go from there. That'll be it for me today, folks. Massive thank you as always for supporting the channel. Back tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. We'll get the podcast out tomorrow night as well, and we'll see where we are. We'll start looking ahead to some Premier League news. We start to look at the squad building from all the other clubs. Fulham, who we've just mentioned, by the way, one player signed so far, and Wolverhampton Wanderers look like they're going to lose another player in Silva. So lots of teams weakened as Leeds United try and get stronger, and we'll see if they can get the attacking flair they need in the next couple of days. Folks, have a great rest of your day. I will talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.